When nothing works anymore, fear convinces you that this is the end. And that belief is exactly what keeps everything frozen. I reached that moment where effort stopped producing movement. Prayers sounded empty. Waiting became exhausting. Every option looked closed, and silence felt final. That is the most dangerous place a son or daughter can reach, because dead ends do not announce themselves loudly. They settle quietly until resignation feels reasonable. Do not underestimate this moment. A dead end is not neutral. It pressures the soul to accept limits God never set. Scarcity whispers that there is no way forward. Urgency tightens your chest because deep inside, you know staying here will slowly drain hope. Fear does not attack with chaos first. It attacks with stillness. Moses stood in a place like this, no path ahead, an enemy behind, the sea unmoved. Logic said stop, emotion said panic, but existence demanded awareness. I exist, therefore I must discern. Psalm 40, Psalm 23, and Psalm 126 reveals something most people miss. God does not change dead-end situations by removing them first. He changes the person standing inside them. This is the plot twist that shifts everything. What if nothing is moving because you are waiting for relief instead of alignment? Psalm 40 speaks of the pit and the long wait. Psalm 23 speaks of the valley where direction disappears. Psalm 126 speaks of years soaked in tears. Different situations, one pattern. Transformation begins internally before it becomes visible. I realized the danger was not the obstacle. It was the conclusion I was about to accept. Resignation feels mature. Giving up sounds realistic. But realism without faith becomes surrender to limits that do not belong to God. Dead ends only become permanent when belief stops moving. This message matters now because delay feeds stagnation. Waiting without awareness deepens the void. What changes dead-end situations is not force, speed, or panic. It is a precise shift of posture that repositions everything. The next step exposes the moment I understood the difference between being stuck and being finished. And that distinction changed how I saw everything in front of me. I exist, and I realized I was stuck, not finished. That realization cut through the fear like a blade. Being stuck feels final, but it is not the same as being finished. Finished means nothing remains. Stuck means something is restrained, and restraint always implies potential. The moment I understood that I still existed inside the situation, resignation lost its authority over me. This is where awareness becomes dangerous, son and daughter. Panic wants you to believe the situation defines you. Fear insists that circumstances are conclusions, but existence itself contradicts that lie. As long as you are here, the story is unfinished. Moses stood between the sea and the enemy, trapped by every visible metric, yet he was not finished, he was positioned. Here is how panic works. It narrows vision. It freezes imagination. It convinces you that what you see is all there is. When fear takes control, exits disappear even when they exist. That is why dead ends feel absolute. Not because they are, but because perception collapses under pressure. Psalm 23 reveals this subtle truth. The valley does not eliminate direction. It hides it. Valleys distort perspective. Walls feel closer, paths feel erased, but awareness restores depth. Once I stopped defining myself by the blockage, I could see again. Stagnation was not my identity, it was my location. Urgency rises here because this is where most people surrender internally. They stop expecting movement and start managing disappointment. Scarcity tells you to accept less. Fear urges you to make peace with limits. But awareness interrupts that descent. The moment you name that you are stuck, not finished, you reclaim authority over your posture. This is the first real shift. Nothing external changed. The sea did not move. The valley did not disappear. But my perception expanded. And perception always changes positioning before outcomes change. Once awareness breaks stagnation, something deeper is revealed. The emptiness that settled inside during the wait, the pit, the valley, and the years that felt wasted. That void demands to be seen next, because what is ignored continues to grow. I perceived the void, and that was when the pit, the valley, and the wasted years finally made sense. The emptiness did not appear overnight. It grew during the wait. Silence stretched, answers delayed. Hope thinned out quietly. I was still moving, still praying, still showing up, but something inside felt hollow. That void was not absence of faith. It was the weight of time passing without visible change. This is where many sons and daughters break internally. Psalm 40 speaks of the pit, not as a place of noise, but of waiting. Waiting that humiliates. Waiting that makes you question your value. Waiting that tempts you to believe you were forgotten. Psalm 23 reveals the valley, where direction disappears and orientation collapses. Psalm 126 exposes the years that feel stolen, where tears water the ground but no harvest appears. Fear thrives in this void. Scarcity whispers that the effort was wasted. Urgency pressures you to escape at any cost. The mind begins to rewrite history, turning hope into embarrassment. This is the danger. When the void is misinterpreted, it becomes proof against God instead of preparation by God. I saw the pattern clearly. The pit stripped noise, the valley stripped control, the years stripped illusion. What felt empty was actually active. God was removing false expectations that could not survive the next season. The void was not punishment, it was refinement. This is the plot twist most people miss. Dead-end seasons feel useless because their work is internal. Nothing visible grows, but everything essential is being repositioned. Psalm 126 confirms this truth. Tears are not erased, they are stored. Sowing happens invisibly before joy returns publicly. Urgency sharpens here because the void tempts you to conclude too early. Fear urges you to define the season by pain instead of purpose. But once the void is named correctly, it loses power. Emptiness becomes a signal, not a sentence. The pit, the valley, and the lost years were never meant to destroy identity. They were meant to strip resignation. And that leads to the most dangerous moment of all. The moment hope quietly turns into surrender. That fall must be confronted next. I recognized my fall, and it was when hope quietly turned into resignation. This is the subtle trap that devours many sons and daughters. Waiting in the pit feels endless. Walking the valley feels exhausting. Years feel stolen. The mind begins to convince itself that giving up is realistic, safe, even faithful. Resignation sneaks in as a companion, whispering that the struggle defines you, that delay equals defeat, that surrender is wisdom. But this is deception. Giving up internally blocks movement externally more than any enemy or obstacle ever could. Psalm 40, Psalm 23, and Psalm 126 expose this truth. They reveal that surrender before the appointed time is misalignment. Moses did not become a leader by giving in. He became a leader by confronting what wanted to quiet his faith. Recognizing the fall is not condemnation, it is illumination. It shows where hope was misplaced, where fear replaced trust, and where resignation masqueraded as patience. Fear intensifies at this stage because acknowledgement always demands accountability. Scarcity argues that action might make things worse. Urgency pushes for decisions driven by emotion rather than wisdom. Yet without facing this internal surrender, no external shift can occur. You remain stuck because the mind has already capitulated. This is the moment to reclaim authority. The first prophetic step must be spoken, not just felt. Write the phrase that breaks the agreement with hopelessness. Declare your alignment with divine timing and purpose. Name the moment where internal surrender loses power and trust in God's movement. regains priority. I refuse to surrender to fear or delay. I align my heart with God's timing. Writing this establishes spiritual legality. It transforms recognition into action. The mind is reordered, the heart fortified, and the spirit prepared for the next movement. What was passive becomes active. What was dead end begins to reposition. The next step reveals the cry that reorders the situation itself, not just perception, and how divine intervention moves before circumstances even shift. I cried out, and God moved me before moving the situation. This is where the cry changes everything. It is not desperation, it is not pleading for relief, it is a deliberate act of alignment. Psalm 23 restores the soul before the path changes. Psalm 40 lifts from the pit after clarity. Psalm 126 transforms tears into testimony. The cry is not about what God will do externally. It is about positioning your heart so that the shift is possible. It is a recalibration of faith, perception, and authority. Moses understood this before leading nations. Action alone cannot create outcome. Alignment alone cannot produce movement. The combination, faith in God's timing expressed through deliberate cry, sets the stage for transformation. Authority in decision, calm in presence, and trust in purpose become the instruments that unlock dead ends. Fear cannot occupy the space where the soul has declared alignment. Scarcity cannot dictate action when surrender is replaced by discernment. Urgency peaks here because this is the moment most people skip. They pray passively, hoping for signs, waiting for proof. Social proof shows the generations who have endured and been delivered through these psalms. Obedience, faith, and cry produce internal movement first. External change follows naturally. I felt the shift immediately. Anxiety retreated. The pit no longer held its power. The valley no longer distorted perspective. Tears became seeds. Internal surrender was replaced by active faith. The cry did not alter circumstances instantly, but it altered my posture toward them. Positioning changed outcome. This is how dead ends start becoming new beginnings. Do not keep this moment private. Subscribe and like intentionally. Spread the message. Participation in divine truth strengthens authority, expands reach, and establishes testimony. Wisdom and alignment become contagious when shared. The final step is fulfillment. Grace transforms internal movement into external evidence, and dead ends become beginnings. I am fulfilled by grace, and the dead end became a new beginning. This is the moment when waiting and struggle transform into purpose and harvest. Psalm 126 reveals that tears are never wasted. They are seeds planted in faith. The pit, the valley, and the years that felt stolen are redeemed. God does not erase the past. He repurposes it. What once felt like an endpoint now becomes the foundation of testimony. Grace does not remove challenge, but it restores perspective, infuses hope, and solidifies direction. Fear has no foothold here. Scarcity no longer dictates action. Anxiety no longer distorts judgment. Wisdom governs choices. Decisions made under grace are intentional, stable, and aligned. Moses stepped forward not because circumstances changed first, but because his mind, heart, and spirit were realigned by faith. Dead ends lose their authority when clarity and surrender take command. Notice the difference. You are no longer chasing escape. You are standing in alignment. You are no longer reacting. You are positioned. You are no longer surviving. You are moving under divine orchestration. What appeared as the end is now a launch pad. The enemy recognizes your new posture. He cannot manipulate faith aligned with wisdom and grace. Seal this transformation. Pray with awareness, intentionally, and with full acceptance. Let the final words anchor everything you have experienced. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Stand here in stillness. The dead end has been redeemed. The path is clear. What follows is no longer confusion or delay. It is a season of obedience, faith, and divine restoration.